Hi friends, it's Lynn Como and welcome to my next kit of the month for August 2025. It's called Weekend Adventures and we are going to cover everything that you possibly could think of for the great outdoors. Anything that has to do with nature, like boating, on the lake, in the mountains, hiking, camping, and even some masculine layouts. So before we even get started at looking at all the artwork, let's check out what products we'll need for this kit. Because I've used pretty much everything in the kit, and this is all that is left with maybe a few pieces little strips that I threw out, you can see I really utilized quite a bit. And we're making 18 pages. So this is really like a colossal kit. One of the things I'll tell you is you definitely want the Weekend Adventures Scrapbooking Workshop Kit because it has all the papers that we need in here. It also comes with 4 exclusive sheets of paper that like wood tone, 2 brown and 2 blonde, 3 very vanilla cardstock, basic beige, 2 of those, and 1 each of Misty Moonlight and Old Olive. So I am going to be showing you all of the artwork and what I've done, but not only does it come with all of these different really fun patterns, you have that check, buffalo check, which is a black and very vanilla stripe, thin pinstripe on the back. I'm only using this pattern, which are trees, and you'll see them. Definitely using both sides of the blue with white splatter, as well as what I call like the hiking scene. It's got the compass on there. What else is in there? Basically, yep, that's all of the pattern paper. So you get 6 sheets of pattern paper plus all of the cardstock. And you will also receive punch outs. So let's just show you. There are 2 sheets of punch outs, and yes, I've punched them all out. And when you turn them over on the back of the punch outs, it tells you projects, but because I'm making 18 pages, you don't need to worry about that. You're just going to eyeball it. Here is another sheet of the punch outs. Plus, you also get a sticker sheet. I know you love it when we use just about everything, so I can tell you, group photo I cut, I didn't use it, and the heart, but I'm sure you can find a place for that. I had cut my heart thinking I was going to do something and it didn't work for me, so I just left it alone. Now, the other thing that I'm also going to be adding in order to bring out the very best of nature, this is called Birds of Winter DSP, Designer Series paper. You just need half a pack. So if you only want the half a pack, you can get it from me for $6.25 plus shipping to you, or I can hold it for the next time we do another kit where I'm adding cardstock and product, and you can do 1 shipping fee. But I love the different patterns. I love the way this came out on the layout, and this stripe. It's pretty unique how I'm using all of these patterns to incorporate with those real earthy tones that we have with Weekend Adventures. Now, if I were you, I'd also buy another pack of the paper and the sticker sheet for Weekend Adventures because you'll be able to use it for masculine layouts as well, and maybe some more layouts or, you know, more flip-flaps and things like that that you might want to create for a great album. But I am using this paper and love this pattern. And on this one, I'm pretty much using this pattern, which gives me the lake look. So that is the Nests of Winter, and the item number is 164183, but you can get half a pack from me if you prefer. Okay, now let's also look at some of the stamps. Now, Weekend Adventures is just a stamp set. And in here, I just wanted to show you, it's all clear. It's great. It's got some nice wording, things to do, places to see. I love the cute little mug, little splatter stamp. I'm using this a lot. You have enjoy, relax, cheers. I didn't use the arrow, but you can definitely add it wherever you'd like. It's easy to add any place, actually. Adventure starts here. Great sizing on this. I'm also going to add this one. This is called Scenic Adventure, and it's the bundle. So you're getting stamps, and the die cuts are completely different, which is really a cool thing. I feel like you get twice the bang for your buck when you buy something that's completely different from the stamping. So it gives you a lot of coordination. love the trees. I'm using the clouds. I love the water. Let the journey get stamped inside. So it's let the journey begin or let the adventure begin. Just breathe and take it slow. That's something you can add. If you're doing a layout or want to use this with somebody who is amazing, you can add that as well. So, and cheers to another journey, another adventure, and can't wait to see you again. So it's a really cool set. Now, it's also clear, which I love, and I love to throw all my little extra pieces in there. But here are the die cuts. We have these trees, which will come out like this, and I use both sides of it. So you can easily see you're going to get one and use the negative again. And I really love that. That's double duty for me. Love the mountain and this little hump of a mountain. Then we have a double tree and a single tree, the cute little moon, the water, a field or grass, and then there's a campfire and the logs to go with it and some flowers. I didn't use any flowers, but that's optional for you to add any of these items that you feel. But the mountains are just beautiful. You can actually sand the mountains. You can swipe it with ink for extra level of depth and texture. But you can see I'm keeping all of these little border trees, as I call them, inside my little package here in case I want to use it on something else. Love those. Now this is the birch wood embossing folder. It's a 6x8 size, and I am using this as well. It just adds another layer of texture, and then you can also swipe it, but I'll point that out. Love that. And then we also have some of our linen thread neutral dots, which is really kind of fun. That's 165561. You get 4 colors in here. There's white, black, and like a basic beige and pecan pie. It works really well. When it comes to die cuts, I brought this out and I only used one of these, but you can use any circle, but I really like the little dots that are around that. This is a spot on nature where you've got all of these. Stylish shapes. Once again, you know, I've been using this again and again every single month. This should be a basic for you. We're using our circles. You have double stitching here. I'll also be using a square as well as the dovetails. So it's really a great purchase to have in your arsenal. Party alphabet. Have you started to really, has it sunk in yet that I've been using this over and over and over again? I can't wait to show you all the things that you can do with this beautiful set. It's $99, but I know that seems pricey, but they are a nice size. I like the font, and they are a nice size die cut. But what I love about it is when you texturize it, you can actually see it because it's wide enough and tall enough to see the details. And a lot of the fonts we've used in the past, it gets lost because they're not big enough. Now, when it comes to inks, there's all kinds of inks we're going to be using because this paper pack incorporated lots of two-tone cardstock. So I didn't show it to you here, but it's the basic beige, which would be a coordinating color for close to my heart folks, would be the mink. There is Cajun Craze, which is similar to papaya. I will be using some black ink. Old Olive is another color that's in there, and the Mossy Green. You can also use this interchangeably, maybe sponge a little bit with the darker color if you have it. I love the Crumb Cake ink. Pecan Pie is one of the other colors that's also in the kit. Misty Moonlight, I've used this little 2x2 cube, so that's another paper that's in there. And Early Espresso, so if you have a nice rich brown, that's another one. But if you don't have Misty Moonlight, maybe Night of Navy, second generation, Sapphire, second generation, maybe you have Bluebell from Close to My Heart. I don't know, you're gonna have to play with the colors and see what works for you. But we are using quite a few of them, and that's what I love about stamping. It really adds another layer of artwork to what we're doing. And I figured I'd show you some of these details. When we go to create that title, you can see how I use the paper and the nature is here. I actually stamped after I did the die cutting, which is optional. This is showing you that you can, if you're creating another title, you can actually do your stamping first and then punch them out. So I wanted you to see the different varieties of ways that you can do lettering. You can keep it plain. This is what I mean by stamped after I die cut it. You can also just emboss it, and we are embossing some letters and then going to swipe it with ink. You can also take your letters and sand them when you use the birch or another embossing folder or not. So it's really has lots of options. You'll see we're doing some of the die cut trees out of patterned paper. Love that. We'll be cutting those circles. Check this out. You're going to see one of the layouts with just 4 of these circles done. And it was using the stylish circles to do that. So you're going to get that look right there. So memorize that one if you're doing the kit with me. And I use this piece right here for lake life, for lake, right? And then another little circle here. So it's just showing you all the options. Now there's some of the punch outs were in the kit and I used the circles on them. And I really loved doing that, as well as some of the campfire. I was kind of cool to do those and then sponge them a little bit with the paprika ink that I had. So hopefully that gives you a great idea of some of the artwork that's coming your way when you see what we create. Okay, here is layout 1 and 2, and I did pretty much follow most of the directions that were in the guide, but I definitely modified it. I loved stamping the bottom border, as you can see along here, this whole edge right here. In first, second, and third generation, I put all 3 trees on one 4x4 block and just kept stamping just along the bottom in old olive, which was kind of fun to do. And that just pulled in the green that you're seeing here. The photo mats are green, and then you have some of these beautiful punch outs. I added my little thread as my tag right there, so you'll see we did that, as well as adding some of the threading over here and my black little dots. You can see here, sponging some pieces as well and doing all the dovetails. Now this dovetail is a punch out, and I actually put that through the embossing folder just to give it a little texture from everything else that was it was involved with over here. So once again, a little bit more of that linen thread, and just using the papers that we cut, as well as adding the mountains at the top. For me, it was a little bit too empty, the space. So I loved using the die cuts, and I used the Early Espresso cardstock to create the mountains. You can tuck a layer in. You're going to play around when you're doing the die cuts. Just keep cutting, 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 and use the negative to cut bits and pieces that are more, even if they're smaller, because you can tuck them behind to give your mountains even more depth. So these are pages 1 and 2, and I actually have photos to put on here, so I'm looking forward to doing that as well. Here we have pages 3 and 4, and now I'm using this basic beige color that I know it didn't look beige, but it is, and I used the darker side of it, and I actually sponged as well with crumb cake ink on here, just adding a little bit of sponging and to my papers as well. Now that's optional for you. You can do whatever you like, but I wanted that, I don't know, deeper tone for the outdoors. I love using those trees. Now you could do another little layer here if you'd like to bring in, if you have extra left over. When I'm creating, I have to be careful how many layers I do, because I want to make sure I have enough paper to add to the other layouts. So if you have more, which you saw I did, I might want to add another layer. I do love that look, that depth that you get. Just one little mountain is here, and that was sanded. So this paper, you could use the front side of the cardstock, the back side of the cardstock, and just have fun with both sides to change it up a little bit. Just add a little bit more trees over here, but everything is pretty much sponged, and just had fun adding the little details. Now the birds of winter paper right here, you can see the cute little birds. I really thought that was fun to add, because usually when you're out hiking or in the woods, you do hear the birds chirping, or you're seeing the birds, and it's part of what nature is all about. So I thought it would be a nice way to break up the layout a little bit and add some of it here but a full piece right here. And just adding those little slivers of brown exclusive pattern paper, which made the difference. And on pages 1 and 2, those base pages were actually exclusive to the workshop kit. So you can see some more of those little details and dots, the neutrals tone here. I love the little wood pieces, the tag that's here, popping up some things, and there's a lot of colors going on here, but once you add your photos, which I have photos for this layout too, I will be adding them as well. So those are pages 3 and 4. Here we have pages 5 and 6. And one of the things I'm going to point out is the title that you see here, Adventure Starts Here. It's out of the Weekend Adventures, and I did a two-tone look. I first dipped half of it in Cajun Craze or Paprika, and then the second half would be in Old Olive or Mossy Meadow. So you can play around with the greens that you have or the oranges you have, but I really enjoyed that feature. There's a cute little X border, and you're going to see me using this quite a bit on some of these pages because it really is fun, as well as the cute little mug, and you'll see some of the other words popping out on these pages. So here are the details, right? We've got stamped clouds, which came out of this particular set, Scenic Adventure. And I did those in the soft gray. Now you see how I X'd in the pecan pie, or you can use crumb cake all the way around, and did my little X borders, my mountains, my trees. Now on these particular trees, I don't know if you can see it, it's so subtle. I actually put them through the embossing folder, and in order to get the lines to go up and down, you can only use a piece this wide. So you have the lines going up and down on your trees. But it's just another little detail, or you can use something you have. Here you can see those two other trees that are die cut and sponged. The grass is die cut and sponged. Another little tiny tree popped up right there. And things to do and places to see is stamped with a cute little heart. Here's that mug that I was showing you in the stamp set. The Cajun Craze dovetail is also embossed with the folder. Adds another little layer of detail. And I stamped Better Together on one of the heart stickers and popped that up. I just colored my little mug with a coloring pencil a little bit there to bring a little detail in. But I have Enjoy as a sticker. I don't know, just a lot of fun details. And these are basically 6x6 swatches underneath on all the papers. So this pattern is the Birds of Winter, and this pattern is part of Weekend Adventures. The mats are Cajun Craze, and I loved this look right here. I don't know about you, but when I'm outside, I love seeing the fields, the trees, the mountains, the whole scenic view of being in nature and having it here. Now, to create this particular look, when I die cut this, the negative is this flipped over. So this is one side, you flip it over to the light side, and I took the little spotted stamp and stamped it, and then I sponged it. And I thought it was fun to do that, just using up all of my scraps. Mountains are here, trees are here, and just sponging everything that you see as well. And it was just fun. You could see I used that X again right here and down here on the inside of my triangles, and just carried this scenic view all the way across. Now remember, you have more photo options by adding 4x6 or 3x4 or 4x4 flip-flaps as well. This was kind of fun too. This is actually coordinating a few things, punch outs and a sticker, and I love that it's a little tiny detail, but when you do it this way versus just having it stuck up here, it makes a difference. Love this little look, and I definitely could use a flip-flap here. And now you can see the cute little campfire. Isn't that adorable? That's a die cut. Love that. Well, these are your pages 5 and 6 with a little bit of stamping of the hearts here. And I can't wait to put my photos on these. Pages 7 and 8. Oh, we are at the lake, but you can change this title to be camp if you want, if that's something you're doing. You want to say beach? Because, I don't know, maybe you are at the beach by the lake. That works too. But isn't this pretty? Now you can really see by pulling in that Birds of Winter paper We picked up the blues here. I love this little stripe that's here, and little strips of Misty Moonlight cardstock, that bird pattern on the bottom. It just really elevated it to be very bright and cheerful, and I could definitely see camping photos and my lake photos here. One of the details that you'll note is on the word lake, I did stamp in blue the water. The water is out of this set right here. You can see it. And you'll see that I stamped it, and it's really just giving it a faint, soft textured look on the lake. I popped up the word lake. Then I also took the one of the circle die cuts, and then I took in the die cut, let me see if this is, yep. This cute little thing right here is the moon. So it kind of gives you those little tiny star dots, but the moon pops out. And I just put a little piece of yellow paper underneath there so you have some scrap that you can add, and added those die cut trees. Some of these are fussy cut out of a sticker because I didn't want the scallop or the circle, and I cut the word camping life apart so I could do camping here and lake life up here. If you're not camping, change it to whatever you'd like and put your own title. We have Better Togethers popped up. Once again, we have the campfire and just some more of those trees, which I showed you before, was die cut on this strip of paper, and that's what you need. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 6 total. And you'll definitely sponge them in for a little extra detail right there. Isn't this great? Look at the colors, just bright and cheerful. Well, sticking with the bright lake kind of theme, Days Well Spent is inside the kit, and instead of brown mountains, I did green mountains this time. So you can see them right here. We have that birch paper, which is from the Birds of Winter paper pack, the trees right here, and just showing you this blue paper is now embossed. And this whole area, so it's as if you're on the lake. You kind of get that look, that feel by doing it, and a little bit of stamping of those X's right there. And it's a very simple layout, but it's really has a lot going on down here when you're adding it. This is left blank here for you to do your journaling. Taking the scenic route is on a dovetail. So here's where I use some of the black ink to just stamp, but blue could work as well. Now, when it comes to this part of it, you'll see this die cut right here. You just keep die cutting until you completely fill in that strip, these two strips right here. And then the die cutting of the grass or field, whatever you'd like to call it, as well with a little bit of sponging. And that's pages 9 and 10, and just adding the treasured spot and the beautiful and the mountains, kind of fun. Going back to the earthy tones are pages 11 and 12. And this was really fun to work with the buffalo check. Everybody loves that. It's so masculine. This is a great masculine layout. So you could change this title. Maybe you have guys that have a lot of toys that they play with, or they're out fishing or camping, or they're doing their man thing on the water, whatever it is, or they're ATVing, right? Mountain biking, whatever. Change this title to whatever you want, but I did stamp adventure, and this is stamped so that you could use this for travel. Weekend Escape is a punch out, and I just added some little X's right here. My black dots, neutral dots are added. So I picked up a little bit of the black, and here's where I used black all the way around. That's stamped, and I sponged everything in pecan pie. Now I really like doing that. It just, to me, adds a little extra depth to that white tone or off-white tone. This is on Very Vanilla, and it's two-tone, so this is the darker side, and we're using the lighter side. Really happy with this color combo. Cajun Craze, Pecan Pie, and your black and Very Vanilla. Really looks great on these pages, and you can see I actually embossed the Cajun Craze, even the photo mat, And let's see if I take this off so you can see it here. And then I swiped it with ink to give it a little extra detail look and depth, which I really enjoyed doing that. I fussy cut, stamped and fussy cut my mug, did the moon underneath there, put a little bit more of the very vanilla paper onto here, and just fussy cut another little mug here. So I have this little cascading thing going down here with, and I love the way that came out. So we have Explore and some of our stickers, Better Together, which is die cut, stamped, Having Fun, Happy Day, and Love. So I really love that look where it's kind of going this way, carrying your eye across both pages. And another great layout that's masculine, and it could be for outdoors, and add more photos with flip-flops, and all the sizes, 3x3, 3x4, and 4x6. Hopefully you're noticing that on my layouts, I love to do both orientations of landscape and portrait photo wells so that you have options when you're putting your photos on the pages. When I go outside, I'm usually taking more landscaping photos of beautiful nature. So to me, it's important to have those focused on some of these layouts. Wow, they really turned out great. This was so much fun using this birch tree and bird paper and using the birds that I had noted before, where I definitely used that circle to cut them all out and added them. And remember those little green strips as well? Right here, I got all of my little circles. I thought that was kind of fun and interesting to add some circles that way to this layout. And we have some of our mountains now, and this is that wood grain paper that's exclusive to the kit. So pecan pie is our base. Here's that tree paper that I'm using. So we have our browns, our beautiful like soft gray and off-white color. And then you can see the nature, what I did here. Now that was out of this paper. And I'll have you note, when I use this paper to do nature, I stamped after I cut it out rather than before. So that's optional for you. When it comes to the stamping, we have the water stamp that looks like brown water or dirt, right? You can sponge this in to add more depth as well. And then the trees are stamped in first, second, and third generation. Really love that element of what you can do with some of these letters to capture the moment or the theme of what you're creating. Well, for my friends that are going on their trip, I wanted to let you know that Alaska would also fit here if you wanted to do that. And this is on very vanilla, and I stamped first to get those letters. So it's optional on how you want to do your own letters. Definitely have our mountains on the wood textured paper here, this wood paper that's exclusive. And we use some of these little dots. Oh, this one's sneaking away from me here. Some of the details being stickers and little labels up here. Love my double circle here. I really love bringing the birds into this and having them here as well as here, and more circles over here. This was one of my favorite layouts as well. And once again, lots of photo options to add flip-flops. Pages 15 and 16. Yes, can you believe it? We've gotten all of these pages. You will need white willow paper. I forget how many sheets. It could be like 5 to 7 sheets. But this is on white, and now you can see how I stamped the lake water in the blue, and then I sponged it. Really thought that was a cool effect, adding to the white. Sponging around, I stamped the clouds, and then I fussy cut 2 clouds and sponged around them. Once they were stamped, I just went around and I sponged in the areas. To me, it's okay if it's not a perfect look. It's not about that. Your photos are going to pop off of the page here. So go lightly, and you can always add more by playing around with your sponging and using some scrap paper. Once again, using that misty moonlight paper, that strip of black. I wanted a little bit of black here to pull that in, just to anchor some of the blues that are going on here. So we have lots of fun photo wells, Let the Adventure Begin is also stamped on one of our dovetail die cuts, linen thread, popped up heart sticker, some more paper. This pattern is out of the Birds of Winter. And here, love this look. Here I took a C and I did this on the Misty Moonlight. Then I embossed, and once I embossed it, I swiped it. So it really makes a really cool look, like it could be water. And I did the same thing here on this strip. So I hope you're enjoying all the little details that are being shown on every one of these pages. Last set of pages, 17 and 18, also on white. And now you can see I've used the word explore. I really wanted to use that word, and I just had to wait until the end to figure out how to do it. But I thought it was fun to do that. I did not pop it up, using some of the papers that were left over. And we have our trees, we have our hiking boots here, and we have this soft crumb cake pattern out of the Birds of Winter. The Explore is on that wood paper that's exclusive to the kit, and adding some trees here. Just thought that was a really cool look to the border to create that. Let the Journey Begin, die cut, stamped as well, and then adding all of our little pieces. And there's those X's again. And if you don't want the acorn, you don't have to use them. That's a sticker. But I did add that right there. Oh, and the cute, and look at the mountains. Now the mountains are just sponged along the top edges of each one of them. So when you have all of these layers of mountains, when you're adding them, you want to definitely leave room to tuck some behind so that you have that depth of a mountain range. So it's not just one in the front. So try to do that when you're playing around with some of your scraps. We also have our papers over here, and the illusion is this is just a little 1 inch by 1.5 inch square. Pulls these pieces together. Then we have all our photos here, a little bit more of this paper here brought over, and some more cute dovetails and stamping. Aren't these beautiful? Last set of pages right here, 17 and 18. Well, that is it for Weekend Adventures. I hope you enjoyed it. There is a minimum purchase of $100 in product on my website. All the details will be on a link in the shopping list, as well as my blog, which is lynncomo.com. You'll also find it on the YouTube comments section of where to go to get the shopping list, so that if you would like to get the cutting guide for all of these pages, that's what you would need to do. And the shopping list will be there for you to use to make sure you get the right products that you can play around with. Well, I hope you really enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching, and please comment below if nature is something that you love to be a part of and you love to do for your vacations, hiking, camping. I'd love to hear about it.